Welcome to Trading the Close, everybody. My name is Gareth Soloway here at VerifiedInvesting.com. As always, we're going to get into the action. There's a lot going on. Markets have rolled over significantly towards the end of the day today. We've even seen Nvidia dump out as much as $40 to $50, although it is getting a bounce now as we head into the close. But today, again, we had GDP numbers. A revision number came in weaker than expected. That helped yields come down. Tomorrow, we have the big PCE data at 8:30 a.m. And of course, I will cover that live. Well, not live when the data comes out, but we'll be going over charts at 9 a.m. during the game plan. All right, first and foremost here, let's take a look at what the markets are doing on the day. Look at this, guys, here. Dow is down about 63 points on the day. So again, a little bit of a drop there. The NASDAQ is what's really getting hit, down 180 points. So that is a nice drop on the NASDAQ. There's no doubt about that. S&P 500 down 18 points. Oil is down $1.40. Gold is fractionally higher, and Bitcoin is eking out about a 1.5% gain on the day. So listen, you can see from this chart here, look at this red here. This is the heat map, and you can see technology services are in the red today. We are seeing a lot of selling in technology, and Nvidia down here, electronic technology under pressure, while Apple is eking out a small gain. So follow me over here. Let's take a look at what's going on into the end of the day. This is the S&P 500 10-minute chart, so it shows us the price action today. Today we opened lower, right? So we did have a downside move. This is on the back of CRM's earnings, Salesforce's earnings. It kind of put the market in a lower mood to start the day. But we saw overall the market starting to float up in the middle of the day on very, very light volume. And then as the end of the day came, we had this big dump. But look, last candle of the day, last on the 10-minute chart with the markets closing in 2.5 minutes, we are seeing a nice little pop to the upside here, or a bounce back. We'll follow this into the end of the day because the key here is this, guys. If we flip over to the S&P 500, what have I talked to you guys about? I said, listen, we have a wide range reversal candle, engulfing candle on the daily chart right here, right? That's, again, a major bearish sign, but we didn't get confirmation yet. Confirmation comes in the form of a secondary close below the low of that candle, that daily engulfing candle. And sure enough, today, unless we get some crazy pop in the last minute or two of this market, we will confirm that move. Now, what does confirmation mean? It means basically that probability shift more into the position of there being a short-term top on the market. Now, could it be a long-term top? It could be. We just don't know, right? We have to look back historically. We'll know that in a few months, or even in 6 months or 12 months, if it was a longer-term top. The one positive here is that if we zoom out on this and we go to that larger time frame, the weekly chart, we do know that we did finally retag this trend line, right? And I've talked about this with you guys many times over. The high of 07, which was right before that big financial collapse, right to the 2022 high right here, and then, or 2021 high really, and then right there, that's what we literally tagged when we had that wide range reversal engulfing candle, and we opened up way up here. It was literally right to that line. Incredible stuff how the charts work, and why I love looking at them and analyzing them as much as I do. All right, last minute of the day here, let's check in on Nvidia. Currently down $41 and change. If we look at this, take a look at this, guys. I'm going to take away the pre-market data, but look at the rollover here later in the day on Nvidia. And this is something I actually was talking about with Ben, my head trader over here in the trading room. We isolated this down. There was a head and shoulders pattern. Look at this. Little head and shoulders right here. Your neckline is right here. And I said it was literally breaking as we were watching it here earlier, right there. And I said, wow, that's a breakdown here. That's going to send Nvidia lower. And lo and behold, the flush, big flush right there on Nvidia into the end of the day. Now listen, let's not take anything away from Nvidia. It is still massively up just since earnings last week. Incredible move. But again, just looking at it from an intraday basis, it's amazing how that chart pattern did play out beautifully to the downside. And really, interestingly enough, we may see that continuing to play out. In terms of Nvidia's daily chart, we are seeing, again, what I would consider to be a reversal day, meaning that the previous 2 days right here, you're essentially reversing that. But please note, this is not a reversal engulfing candle. It is just a reversal candle. So if you look at the power of candles, a reversal engulfing candle is way more powerful in terms of a top signal than just a reversal candle. Reversal candle, maybe 50-50 chance of a top. Reversal engulfing candle, probably 70% chance of a top. Once you get confirmation, knocks it to 75 to 80% that we have a top, and that's what we have on the S&P 500 today. Speaking of the S&P 500, let's flip back to that chart because we just closed. So it looks like on the 10-minute chart, we got a final candle right here that bounced nicely. Now we're going to get a bunch of earnings after the bell, including Dell and Costco. And again, I want to keep an eye on these here. Let's take a look. So far, Dell, by the way, Dell did sell off today a little bit, so we'll see what happens on earnings. But the chart is just incredible. Looking at the daily chart, just in the last month, the stock was up 50%. So again, a huge, incredible move from 117, 118 bucks. High today was about $180. So over a 50% move, right? So big move there coming into earnings. Do they have the goods? Will they perform like an Nvidia and just blow the cover off the ball? And we should know here very soon. Let me take a look. So far, I'm not seeing any data out just yet. You can see this is after hours data just starting to show here, and price is minimally, moving. Now, Costco. All right, here we go. Costco initially down on earnings. I did have a bunch. First of all, look at this chart on Costco daily chart. If I zoom out on this, to me, when I look at this chart, I'm like, all right, how much higher can Costco go? In addition, this stock actually fell sharply the last earnings report because they were saying that the consumer was slowing down. So I didn't really understand why it went to new all-time highs just in the last month or two. When their last earnings, they were saying the consumer is slowing down, and we know that the consumer is even more stretched than they were back then. But either way, it did do that. And let's go back and check on this chart here. Yep, we are seeing a little bit. And listen, this is a small sell-off. It's nothing to write home about yet, but it is coming down a little bit after closing today around 814. Oh, now it's chopping up here, jumping up a little. Now it's back down. These could be just some fake prints going off, and we'll keep you guys posted on that. Ulta Beauty reporting earnings after the bell. Let's jump to our after-hours charts. As of now, I do not see any action on ULTA, but ULTA reporting earnings after the bell. Here's Zscaler. Reporting after the bell as well. So far, nothing there yet, although it's starting to uptick just a little bit. And MongoDB also reporting after the bell here, but as of now, no major price action on this one, all right? So again, interesting to watch here. So far, again, I'm just flipping back and forth to Dell here, but Dell, again, minimal price action, nothing that is getting my attention just yet. Really seems like Costco's the obvious one that earnings are out already when you get that type of volatility. All in all, though, Costco not moving much. Now, a couple other charts that I wanted to look at while we're waiting to see what these earnings are. Here's your chart of Bitcoin. Bitcoin did catch a small bid today. It is holding that technical line. Amazing channel. Price again from the low to the high of it, to the low to the high, breaks out, and then consolidates and holds that line. Again, common sense dictates that's short-term bullish for us on Bitcoin. Unless it breaks back into this channel, then it starts to become more of a 50-50. But right now, probabilities do favor the upside on that chart. Quickly going to gold here. Gold did not do much, and I want to just reiterate that gold is likely going to be the mover tomorrow on the back of the PCE data. So inflation numbers coming out tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, and we will see again the movement here on the dollar, on the 10-year off that inflation news, as well as it'll impact gold, silver, other commodities as well. So again, minimal price action, but please understand, just looking at it, if I didn't know this was gold and I just was analyzing it, down move, sideways consolidation, that's a little bearish. So if I have to position myself, and again, this is, to each his own, but it would be slightly favoring the downside on the chart. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. It just means that's what the chart is pointing to right now. All right, quick check-in on Dell again. So far, nothing that I'm seeing. Costco is now flat to positive in the after hours. Ulta Beauty getting a small uptick. I don't know if the earnings are out there as it's not enough price action. Let's flip over here to Zscaler, which is only up slightly on earnings. And then if we look here real quick, MongoDB, now we'll see again. So far, nothing going on there. Now, I'm gonna hold out and do a couple other charts for you guys because at 4:05, a lot of these earnings should hit and we'll start to get some better movement. And I want to at least cover that before I say goodbye to you guys today. So let's take a look. We looked at Nvidia. Let's take a look at Apple. What's Apple doing on the daily chart? So if I zoom out on Apple here, we have a pretty obvious level here. We have this bigger high pivot. Notice these two trend lines are almost parallel, almost perfectly parallel. And essentially what you've been doing is you've been going up there, then you come down here, come up here, you come down here. So the thought process is we probably go up and test that, which is around 195. Now the big question is, will it break out? Because this could be looked at as an upward move with sideways consolidation, and maybe probabilities favor that breakout to the upside. So again, we'll see. All right, let's flip over here, guys. Let's go back to Dell and see what Dell's up to. Oh yeah, Dell's selling off here on earnings. Initial move could be wrong, but right now it is starting to come down. That's a nice move from about $170 down to $150. Question is, does it stay here? Now, the reason why Dell is so important, guys, is because this one will impact the AI stocks. They do the data centers, the AI data centers and all that stuff. So if this stays weak, it likely creates more selling pressure. Potentially, SMCI is essentially the same business as Dell, so that could be under pressure tomorrow, as could be Nvidia and some of these other chip stocks. So again, let's see where this goes. Right now, initially, it is down on earnings. So again, that 405 time frame. Costco, checking in on Costco, still flat to positive. Looks like some chop on Ulta Beauty, but nothing much going on there. Zscaler, nice move here on Zscaler on earnings. Closed around 155, trading at 170. It's about a 10% move. That's a nice move initially on Zscaler. And then quickly going to Marvell, MRVL. Ooh, that's a nice little sell on MRVL as well. And this is another tech play down, continuing to go lower here. Closed at around 77 bucks, trading at 71, not quite 10%. But this is actually a pretty big company too. Now at underneath 71 on the charts. MDB, let me look at MDB. MongoDB, MGB, I think. Mongo, hang on one second, MongoDB, MDB is the symbol. Ooh, that's getting hit too. Holy cow, is that right? This thing's down over $50 on MongoDB here in the after hours. Monster drop. So look at this. So it closed at 310 and it's at 247. Whew. All right, so where's this going? Let's look at chart levels here. Let's look at where this could get a bounce. All right, there is some support coming in around 240, high risk though. Additional support at 222, and then really, 150 is way down there. But I would say the 222 to 240 level starts to get, there's some areas of support in here. And I'll just draw on the chart where I'm seeing these so you guys can follow along at home. A lot of pivots here at around 238, and then this pivot high right through this area. That's kind of where I'm isolating down these levels on MongoDB. So you can see right here, right here, right here, right here, all through there, and then this pivot high just below that. So that kind of creates a zone of potential support on this. But I will say this, we're seeing stocks that do not perform earnings. The next day, a lot of them go even below key support. So again, it's one thing to be a trader and be in and be out real quick, but be very, very careful on these, because you could even see on Salesforce today, CRM, initially it got some bounces off like my 224 level. It bounced even yesterday after hours to 230, but then today it went as low as like 212, 213 before rebounding to about 215. So very interesting there. All right, so Zscaler up on earnings. Is there any shortable levels here? 168? Not really. If I go to the daily chart, look at this. So daily chart, guys, on this chart of Zscaler, notice how this area up here is resistance, but this is where we were trading just, this is at 181 and we're only at what, 168 or something like that. So it's still, we were just here like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So I don't like charts that have been at these previous levels so recently. It's not as firm of a resistance level. Ulta, still flat on the day. You can see it's chopping a little bit here on earnings. And let's go back to Dell, because Dell is the big one. 149. It's a nice sell on Dell, guys. All right, I'm getting out of breath over here. I'm going to get back to my computer and where I'm trading, guys. But again, lots going on here. It means there's going to be great trading opportunities tomorrow in the live Apex trading room. So check that out at verifiedinvesting.com, where we day trade live with everyone in there. I wish you all the best. Thank you for tuning in to Trading to Close, and I'll see you for the game plan tomorrow.